Hey, what's up guys, welcome back to another build guide. Today we're going to be doing a Mini ITX build at a price point of $650. I would do more regular builds, but I've done quite a few already, and I don't want to really drag that out, so here it is, a Mini ITX build. Alright, so starting off with the processor, we've got an i5-6400. This is the lowest end i5 on Skylake's platform, but don't get me wrong, it's still going to perform great for gaming. Spec-wise, this particular processor has 4 cores, 4 threads, 6 MB of level 3 cache, a base frequency of 2.7 GHz, and runs on the LGA 1151 socket. Since we don't have anything like 1080 SLI, we're not going to need an i7 or even a higher end i5 for that matter. If you do need the extra horsepower for video editing or whatever, you can always upgrade to a higher end i5 or even an i7 if you need to. Alright, so for motherboard, I went with an ASRock H100M. This is a very basic motherboard, but will work just fine for our setup. It also isn't the prettiest motherboard around, but since we don't have a side panel or anything, it shouldn't be a huge problem. As I said before, this is an incredibly basic motherboard, actually the cheapest Mini ITX LGA 1151 board on the market right now. Specs wise, this thing can hold 2 DIMMs of RAM up to 32 gigs, clockable up to 2133 MHz. It also does not support overclocking, crossfire, or SLI, or any RAID configurations, and runs on the LGA 1151 socket. For memory, I went with 8 gigs of the AVIX or Core series 8GB single stick of memory. This memory is clocked to 2400 MHz, which is a little bit more than our motherboard supports, but our motherboard should automatically clock it down to 2133 MHz, and it will work just fine. For gaming, 8GB of RAM should be enough for lower end or even mid-range systems. As of right now, this is the cheapest 8GB kit on the market with a heat spreader because heat spreaders don't cost that much more money and they look a lot better. The part page is set up so you will get the cheapest 8GB kit on the market because it doesn't really matter all that much with RAM as long as you have enough of it. For storage, I went with the WD Caviar Blue 1TB hard drive. I tried to fit an SSD into the budget, but it just didn't happen, so for a budget of only $50, a hard drive will probably be a better choice. If you know you're not going to be playing a ton of different games, you can buy an SSD instead, but again, you'll probably be better off with a hard drive at this price point. Anyway, this hard drive is a 1TB 7200 RPM drive, and there's not a whole ton to say about it. I have this hard drive in my personal rig, and it's very reliable from reviews and my personal experience. For graphics card, I went with the GeForce GTX 1060 Mini ITX OC. I chose this completely because of its price, so right off the bat, if the 4GB variant of the RX 480 is cheaper in your country, go for that instead because the performance is more or less the same. I know prices for graphics card and any computer components for that matter are ridiculous right now anywhere besides the US and Malaysia, so if RX 480s are cheaper, then go for one of those instead because they're pretty much, give or take a little, the same performance. Here in the US, 3GB models of GTX 1060s are lower than RX 480s, so that's what we're using for this build. Anyway, spec-wise, the GTX 1060 comes in 3 or 6GB variants. We're going with the 3GB model because of prices right now. This GTX 1060 also has a base clock of 1556 MHz, a TDP of 120 watts, and is only 17 cm long, which is perfect for our ITX form factor. For display ports, you get a single DVI port, 3 display ports, and 1 HDMI port. As we know, there is no SLI for GTX 1060s, which as I've said before, is a pretty big disappointment. Alright, so for a case, I chose a Cooler Master Elite 110. This is a pretty cool case, I think it looks awesome, and it's very affordable as well. If you want to see someone building it, you can do a search on YouTube and find some videos, but it's overall a pretty cool case. I don't know a whole ton about it, and there's not a ton to say about it, but cases are all about opinion, so do some research and find out what you really like, because most cases are more or less the same. And lastly, you're going to need a power supply, so I managed to find an awesome deal on a Corsair Builder 500 watt power supply. It's only $30, it has 500 watts, and it has an 80+ bronze rating. You can't really ask for a whole lot more for $30. Anyway, this is a fantastic deal, and I'd snatch it up quick if I were looking to build a PC. Anyway guys, that's it for the build, hope you guys enjoyed, and as you may have guessed, I am back. I won't be uploading super frequently because juggling school, football, and YouTube is impossible, so maybe once a week until football ends. I'm glad I'm back, I hope you guys are too. Thank you so much for taking your time to watch this, and have a good day guys. Peace.